convert it to a number. So how do we do that? Well, there's 4 choices that you had for this question. One was that you use ordinary salt, then light salt, salt substitute, or you don't use salt at all. So the way I coded it, that was my preference, was number 1 is ordinary salt, 2 is light salt, 3 is salt substitute, and 4 is no salt at all. So if you turn the page and you look at salt type, I see mostly 1s and 0s. Does anybody see anything else? 2s, 3s, 4s? Why do I see 0s? Did I get this wrong? Yes. I actually meant 0 equals none on the question. So 0 equals none. So what is the most appropriate measure of central tendency for this variable? Mean, median, or mode? What? Louder. You know? Well, I said mode, and the reason I said mode was because, like I said last week, the reason we would use mode over median or mean at a certain point will be if you can't really take an average. It's a variable that's not a number, and so it would be easier to just say, what kind do we see the most? And we see 1s and 0s the most, which means that most of you either don't use any salt at all or use ordinary salt. And the mode here is 1 or 0. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Alright, so that's that. So now I want to talk about the different types of variables that I just got into a little bit. Now let me hand out the sheet, which has on one side a fake draft paper, and on the other side all the variables. Okay. So last week I passed around this sheet of paper that you guys got to take home. On one side was how to calculate median and mode, and on the other side is something else. I assume nobody brought that piece of paper in here. So what I did was, you have it? Last time. So it's on here. It's on the table. So you guys can share. Okay, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different bolded words. And these are different types of variables. Okay. So let's start with, on your sheet where it has all the variables, look at the variable weight and the variable milk type. So what does the variable weight stand for? Which question? So we're looking at I listed all the variables, which correspond to all of the questions of your survey. So the variable weight is how much you weigh, right? Okay, so then the variable milk type is which question? From the survey. And you can look at the survey here and find out. It's what type of milk you drink, and there's a million different choices. So it's whole or 2% or 1% or skim. Can anybody tell me, just from their interpretation, the difference between these two types of variable, the variable weight and the variable milk type? How I asked it, the response that people might give, what's the difference? The difference, just similarities and differences. So I asked 2 different questions. One is how much you weigh, and the other one is what type of milk do you drink. But the responses are somewhat different.
For the first question, they didn't say just not anything.
Right.
But this, you have choices for them to choose from.
Okay, so they have to do one of these choices.
Yes. And for that one, you can calculate the mean and the median. But for this one, you can't. It's not really number.
Right. So you pretty much so the first one is free response. Someone can weigh 200 pounds, someone can weigh 130 pounds, someone can weigh 130.5 pounds. You can write anything, so it's pretty open-ended. The other one is not open-ended. I give you a discrete list that you choose from. The other difference is one is numerical, so you put down a number, and the middle type is not, it's a word. So you're choosing out of the choices, it's a word. So looking at this sheet, we'll start off with discrete versus continuous data. Okay. So discrete data is a number that has only distinct, like it's a distinct number. It cannot be like an interval or a half or a ratio or anything like that. So examples are, if we're counting the number of kittens in a litter, the number of patients the doctor has, gender or group, that is discrete data. Continuous, and you can only understand discrete if you look at its opposite, which is continuous, which is a set of data is continuous if it belongs to any value within a finite or infinite interval. What does that mean? It just means like things like height, weight, temperature, and the number of time it requires to run a mile is continuous. So it can be any option. Whereas discrete is not. It's just a whole number or one out of a set of choices. So out of the two, weight or the type of milk, which one is continuous? Weight is continuous because it could be any number. It could be 135 and a half, it could be 135. Which one is discrete? The type of milk. Okay. Now let me ask you this. Could we make weight discrete? How could we make weight discrete?
People act like people like do weight to this weight and that like different weights.
So you're giving a specific category for it. Or you could also say, give a whole number. You're not allowed to put down halves. You can't put down like a portion. You can just put down whole pounds. That's another thing you can do. You can do it before you ask the survey, or you take your measurements, or you can do it after. So if someone put down that they weigh 130 at 0.5, then you round it yourself. That's another option. So, going back to this list of variables with the empty blank space, we're going to decide whether they're discrete or continuous. So, the first variable is your ID number. ID number is just the number I assigned to you because you didn't put your name on your survey. So would that be discrete or continuous? Discrete, right? There cannot be like ID number 1.5. What about age? It's continuous because I didn't specify if you could use 16.5 or things like that. What about gender? Discrete. You have only two choices, I think. Height? Height is continuous. Weight? Continuous. Okay. This one's tough. Shoe size. Discrete. Well, shoe size is actually, how should I put this? It's not a measurement. It's not like if you have size 10, your foot is 10 inches or 10 centimeters or whatever it is. That's just the value they assign to that measurement of a foot. And if you think about it also, men and women have different sizes. So I asked you to put down the size, and you guys put down your size in men's or women's, but not the same size, right? So it's discrete. Shoe size is a tough one.